This led to much conversation, and it was evident that he wanted to talk, if only for talking's sake. I asked him many questions regarding things that had already happened to me or come within my notice. Sometimes he sheered off the subject and turned the conversation by pretending not to understand. But generally, he answered all I asked most frankly. Then, as time went on and I got a bit bolder, I asked him of some of the strange things of the preceding night, as, for instance, why the coachman went to the places where he had seen the blue flames. He then explained to me that it was commonly believed that on a certain night of the year, last night in fact, when all evil spirits are supposed to have unchecked sway, a blue flame is seen over the place where treasure has been concealed. That treasure has been hidden, he went on, in the region through which you came last night. There can be but little doubt, for it was ground that was fought over for centuries by the Wallachian, the Saxon, and the Turk. Why, there is hardly a foot of soil in all this region which has not been enriched by the blood of men, patriots and invaders. In old days, there were stirring times when the Austrian and the Hungarian came up in hordes, and the patriots went down to meet them, men and women, the aged and the children too, and waited their coming on the rocks above the passes, that they might sweep down destruction on them with their artificial avalanches. When the invader was triumphant, he found but little, for whatever there had been was sheltered in the friendly soil. But how, said I, can it have remained so long undiscovered, when there is a sure index to it, if men will but take the trouble to look? The Count smiled, and his lips ran back over his gums. The long, sharp canine teeth showed out strangely, and he answered, "Because your peasant is at heart a coward and a fool. Those flames only appear on one night, and on that night no man in this land will, if he can help it, stir without his doors. And, dear sir, even if he did, he would not know what to do. Why, even the peasant that you tell me of, who marked the place of the flame, would not know where to look by daylight, even for his own work. Even you would not, I dare be sworn, be able to find those places again." "There you are right," I said. "I know no more than the dead of where even to look for them." And then we drifted on to other matters. "Come," he said at last, "tell me of London, and of the house which you have procured for me." With an apology for my remissness, I went into my own room to get my papers and from my bag, and when I was placing them in order, I heard a rattling of china and of silver in the next room, and as I passed through, noticed that the table had been cleared and the lamp lit, for it was by this time deep into the dark. The lamps were also lit in the study or library, and I found that the Count lying on the sofa reading, of all things in the world, an English Bradshaw's Guide. When I came in, he cleared the books and papers from the table, and with him I went into plans and deeds and figures of all sorts. He was interested in everything, and he asked me a myriad of questions about the place and its surroundings. He clearly had studied beforehand all that he could get on the subject of the neighborhood, for he evidently, at the end, knew very much more than I did. When I remarked on this, he answered, "Well, but my friend, is it not needful that I should? When I go there, I shall be all alone, and my friend Harker, Jonathan, nay, pardon me, I fall into my country's habit of putting the patronymic first. My friend Jonathan Harker will not be by my side to correct and aid me. He will be in Exeter, miles away, probably working on the papers of the law with my other friend, Peter Hawkins. So, We went thoroughly into the business of the purchase of the estate at Purfleet. When I had told him the facts and got his signature to the necessary papers, and had written a letter with them ready to post to Mr. Hawkins, he began to ask me how I had come across so suitable a place. I read to him the notes which I had made at the time, and which I inscribe here. At Purfleet, on a by-road, I came across just such a place as seemed to be required, and where was displayed a dilapidated notice that the place was for sale. It is surrounded by a high wall of ancient structure built of heavy stones and has not been repaired for a large number of years. The closed gates are of heavy oak and iron, all eaten with rust. The estate is called Carfax, no doubt a corruption of the old quatre faces, as the house is four-sided, agreeing with all the cardinal points of the compass. It contains in all some 20 acres, quite surrounded by the solid stone wall above mentioned. There are many trees on it, which make it in places gloomy, and there is a deep, dark-looking pond or small lake, evidently fed by springs as the water is clear and flows away in a fair-sized stream. The house is very large, and of all periods back, I should say, to medieval times, for one part is of stone, immensely thick, with only a few windows, high up and heavily barred with iron. It looks like part of a keep, and is close to an old chapel or church. I could not enter it, as I had not the key of the door leading to it from the house, but I have taken, with my Kodak, views of it from various points. That the house has been added to, but in a very straggling way, and I can only guess at the amount of ground it covers, which must be very great. There are but few houses close at hand, one being a very large house only recently added to and formed into a private lunatic asylum. It is not, however, visible from the grounds. When I had finished, he said, "I am glad that it is old and big. I myself am of an old family, and to live in a new house would kill me. A house cannot be made habitable in a day, and after all, how few days go to make up a century. I rejoice also that there is a chapel of old times. We Transylvanian nobles love not to think that our bones may lie amongst the common dead. I seek not gaiety, nor mirth, nor the bright voluptuousness of much sunshine and sparkling waters which please the young and gay. I am no longer young, and my heart, through weary years of mourning over the dead, is not attuned to mirth. Moreover, the walls of my castle are broken, and the shadows are many, and the wind breathes cold through the broken battlements and casements. I love the shade and the shadow, and would be alone with my thoughts when I may." Somehow his words and his look did not seem in accord, or else it was the cast of his face which made his smile look malignant and saturnine.